Vale, ya estamos aquí. Bienvenidos, compañeros, bienvenidos, amigos, bienvenidos. Eh, amigos, sin más. Al segundo capítulo de Vampyr. Están llamando al móvil. Me cago en la puta de oros. Y nada. Aquí estamos, aquí seguimos. He bajado el volumen del... Oye, qué ojo, tío, de verdad. Que es que empiezo el directo y justo llaman, colega. ¿Podéis dejar de sonar, por favor? Nada, ¿eh? Bueno, pues ahora vuelvo. Alucinante, tronco. Bueno, ya estoy de vuelta. Espero que ya no vuelva a tener putas interrupciones. Es que ya me tengo que poner de mala hostia, colega. O sea, en esta casa se llama el teléfono 80 veces al día y justo un día que no llaman, pongo a grabar, llaman. Venga. Bueno, lo que decía, he bajado el sonido del juego porque he visto que en el vídeo anterior se me escuchaba un poco bajo. Entonces yo confío que así se me escuche mejor. Si no, no sé, ya veré lo que hago. O tendré que gritar más, ¿no? Pero tampoco quiero gritar. Sí, bueno, continuamos donde lo dejamos. Capítulo 2, acto... Creo que era acto 1, no sé, no me he fijado. Tras la búsqueda de William, no me acuerdo del apellido, el amigo... Bueno, antiguo amigo del dueño del bar, que nos dice que se ha pasado por allí y que estaba un poco nervioso, más nervioso que de costumbre, que quería que que saliese al exterior a hablar con él. La persona que creemos que nos ha mordido, ¿no? La persona que a priori es un vampiro, que le hemos seguido por el rastro de la sangre. Y también hemos conocido al profesor, que vive en la puerta de... En la puerta del bar, justamente. No en la puerta del bar, en la habitación del bar. Profesor del cual yo no me fío, porque además estaba hablando con un... Lo que dije en el capítulo anterior, con una mujer que yo no sé si es vampiro o no. Ya no la llegamos a ver, pero justo antes de entrar en esta habitación hace el sonido de cuando nos teletransportamos nosotros, ¿no? Para entenderme... Bueno... por cierto que me han... Bueno, da igual. Bueno, sigamos. Este es el bar donde estuvimos antes. Vale, hay algo por aquí arriba. Y aquí se puede entrar. Ah, no. Tienes que llamar. Ah, mira, aquí vamos a poder entrar luego. Escucho a un niño llorar.
I cannot enter.
Se escucha a un niño llorar, sí, sí, sí. Un momento. Estos eran el mapa, ¿no? Este es el refugio. Vale, tenemos que ir. Vale, por esta puerta no, si no me dejan interactuar. Vale. ¿Necesitas más información? Alístate a la marina hoy mismo. Pregunta en tu oficina de reclutamiento. Vale. Mira, ahí está el rastro de sangre.
The body is still warm. This man has just been drained of blood. This man was armed. He tried to defend himself.
Un soldado, puede ser un marinero.
This corpse has been dried of its blood, just like the previous victim. What's this? Some sort of note.
Órdenes de Prewen. 30 de octubre de McGollum para patrullas de los muelles. Vale, pues este tío era una patrulla de los muelles. Un soldado patrullando los muelles. Asunto. Múltiples muertes en la región de los muelles. Creemos que podría estar involucrado un maldito chupasangre. Localizad a la bestia. Acabad con ella. Rápido. Vale, sí. Prewen sabe que hay vampiros. Atención. Según los últimos informes, se trata de un vampiro muy violento. Aproximaos con la máxima precaución. Sé que nos faltan hombres en esta parte de la ciudad, pero no enviéis novatos a investigar el asunto. Si no me equivoco, tenemos un asesinato cada noche. Como siempre, buscad primero en los lugares abandonados, como casas antiguas, sótanos, alcantarillas o almacenes. Destruid al chupasangre, hermanos.
These men, they're a company of professional vampire hunters. Blood and empty gin bottles. This Bishop fellow is something of a heavy drinker.
William Bishop.
There are blood splats on the other side of the canal. I must reach that barge.
Este es el sonido, ¿vale? Que escuchamos justo al entrar en la habitación del profesor. Vale. Es por la derecha, hay algo por aquí. Vale, ahí hay un enemigo. Yo pensaba que le iba a hacer insta-kill, tío, vaya mierda.
ammunition crate. Good. I may need a lot of bullets. I feel like I'm back on the front line again.
Entonces, ¿cómo me equipo? Tengo que irme aquí. Ah, vale. Ahora. Vale, ahora. Ahí está, vale. Vale. Cerrado, ¿no?
It's locked.
Correcto. Vale. Es por aquí, no hay otro camino.
I cannot enter.
Hostias. Me va a ver, ¿no? Bueno. Un poco lamentable eso, ¿eh? Ha sido un poquito lamentable, ¿eh? Que no me viera. Pero bueno. Se lo pasamos, de momento. Vale, no hay nada más por aquí arriba.
It's locked, all right.
No puedo hacer nada más. Pues vamos a pegarnos. Vale, este es muy resistente al ataque cuerpo a cuerpo. Y este es muy resistente. Y este es muy resistente al. No, y al ataque a distancia. Y este al ataque cuerpo a cuerpo medio y a distancia mucho, ¿no? Pues nada, nos pegamos de hostias con los dos. Vamos primero a por este. ¡Buah! Márcale. Uy, este no sabe que somos lo que somos, ¿eh? Nada, tengo que avanzar a hostias. No hay otra manera. Pues nada. Vaya, todo esto, tú, son cadáveres, ¿no? Para que no se conviertan en vampiros. Entiendo. Nuevas prácticas, nuevas tácticas. Sé que algunos de nuestros compañeros consideran que la mejor ventaja que tenemos en nuestra lucha contra las sanguijuelas es que no pueden salir de día. Por tanto, debemos darles caza mientras se ocultan, indefensos en su letargo. Precisamente ese es el mayor error de los novatos. Primero, porque los vampiros son muy inteligentes y poseen incontables trucos y estratagemas para evitar ser vistos en su guarida. Segundo, porque colocan tantas trampas letales como sea necesario para acabar con cualquier intruso en lo que consideran su santuario más preciado. Costaría demasiados hombres y tiempo explorar y erradicar a los vampiros en sus escondrijos. La mejor táctica consiste en seguirlos y destruirlos cuando son realmente vulnerables, cuando cazan de noche. entonces resulta mucho más sencillo atacar, cuando pueden ser fácilmente vistos. Por eso, la guardia de Priwen debe evolucionar y desarrollar nuevas tácticas para cazar chupasangres. Patrullas pequeñas y móviles. Tácticas basadas en avances tecnológicos y comunicaciones modernas. Podemos aprender muchas cosas de la guerra en Francia. Nuevas estrategias, nuevo equipamiento y nuevas armas. Granadas, fósforo blanco, luz ultravioleta, chalecos antibalas y lanzallamas. Es hora de que la guardia abrace el siglo XX. De Una nueva guerra, de Geoffrey McCallum, líder de Priwen. Vale, líder de Priwen, Geoffrey McCallum. Por aquí arriba hay algo. Me mola eso de que si te ven de lejos, no saben que eres un vampiro. Mira, cambia la pose. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Lumpara usada? ¿Qué es esto? Uy, perdón. Una carabina recortada. Como arma defensiva de corto alcance. Pues me voy a poner la recortada, ¿no? Mejor. Jejejejeje. Hostia, espera, ¿cuántos cartuchos tengo? Ingredientes consumibles aquí. Uy, tengo más balas. Pues ponte la pistola mejor. Mierda, joder, esto es un poco locura, ¿eh? Entiendo que será acostumbrarse.
This is despicable.
Nah, eso supongo que será solo para subir vida y sangre.
It's locked.
Mira, y allí hay un NPC.
It's locked, all right.
Madre mía, pero si están todas las puertas cerradas, muchacho.
Fresh blood. The whole building reeks of it. The scent is so strong it makes me dizzy.
Otro NPC aquí. A ver, espera.
cannot enter. This place reeks of bloodshed.
Buah, chaval.
Please, let go of me.
Ah, este es William Bishop. Sí, pone que
This
es
creature
Shane.
is bedeviled. I must put it down.
Buah. Espérate, que quiero hacer una cosa. Eso es. Mierda. El triángulo se recarga. Ven, ven, ven. Mira, ¿cómo me has dado? No te lo crees ni tú, colega. ¡Hostia, hijo de puta! Ven aquí, hijo de puta. ¿Para eso quieres? Hostia, que ese está vivo.
William was an honorable man. I could have saved him.
Mr. Hampton, are you in there?
I knew him well, another lost soul, a kindred spirit.
Sir, listen to the sound of my voice. I'm a doctor. You're suffering from shock.
I
Hostia!
must return to my flock, they'll stray without me.
Remember, certain skulls are every bit as resistant as we are.
Who are you? What do you mean by scowl?
You truly are a newborn. I should have realized.
Wait. You are the woman from the bar. Are you like me? Can you help me?
I believe, sir, I already have.
Efectivamente, esa es la mujer del bar. Un vampiro. Experimentado. Skull es vampiro y neófilo, lo que ha dicho, newborn, ¿no? En inglés, recién nacido.
By George and the Saints, you've solved the mystery of these terrible murders. Patience, good fellows, I've come to offer help. Just give me a moment to secure my boat. We can leave this awful place.
William was not the evil man they claimed. He was just taken by the thirst. He needed this drink.
This man requires medical attention. We'll see he gets to the nearest hospital.
No, please, I must tend to my fold. My flock needs me.
Yes, sir. Go with the good Dr. Swansea. He's resourceful, and I'm sure he'll take good care of you.
You'd best come as well. The sun is soon to rise, and you'll need a place to rest.
I just need a moment. If I can learn something about what has happened to William, I'll be a step closer to understanding what happened to me.
¿William no era el que no se había mordido? Entonces no será otro.
This poor creature can't be my maker. Could it be some subspecies of vampire? I must find a place to analyze the blood. It's locked, all right. I cannot enter.
Me pone que suba al barco. Ah, vale, que ya he cogido la... No puedo irme por donde se ha ido la tía. Tú. Pues vamos al barco. De momento me está molando mucho, ¿eh?
Where are we headed?
We're on our way to the Pembroke Hospital. It's just across the canal. They'll have a bed for poor Mr. Hampton.
William was... What manner of creature was he?
Predator, prey, villain, and victim. Who can say? The important thing is that he's been stopped.
Duly noted. And the woman? What... Who is she?
What woman?
Oh, don't play me for a fool. You used me to locate that skull. You must know who she is.
And I thought you a gentleman. You shouldn't talk about a lady behind her back. But I will tell you, she values her privacy.
Se nota.
For London as peaceful as she appears from the middle of the canal. If only that were the reality of the situation.
To be honest, I've always tried to avoid this part of town.
Pembroke Hospital is the last bastion between the rest of London and the epidemic. The flu has decimated the East End and the war still rages. Welcome to the front lines of a plague.
This is where you work, Dr. Swansea?
I am the administrator of Pembroke Hospital.
I thought you were here in service of your mysterious order, the Brotherhood of...
Of St. Paul's Stole, yes. But first and foremost, I'm a man of science. A physician, like yourself, Dr. Reed.
How do you know who I am?
No need for modesty. You are Dr. Jonathan Reed, a surgeon of some caliber and renown, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct, sir.
I knew it! I had my suspicions. But when you took the blood sample from the corpse of poor William, I was certain. Dr. Reed. Marvelous.
Have we met?
I attended 3 of your seminars before the war. I have the utmost admiration for your research. And what a turn of fate. England's most esteemed blood specialist returns to London a vampire.
That word, again, from a so-called man of science.
I understand. Traditionally, the role of science is to refute myth, but when myth walks among us, the Brotherhood of St. Paul has dedicated its purpose to their study. There's so much for you to learn.
And for that, you are right.
Well, then let me be blunt. Join my staff at Pembroke Hospital.
Uf.
As a physician. I suspect you'll not find a better post of employment to contemplate your predicament.
Ah, bueno,
This
sí.
is sudden. I was returning home to see my sickly mother. But alas, that was before contracting this... affliction.
Dr. Reed, take a moment to consider. The post would be for the night shift, providing a good explanation for your absence during daylight hours. You'll be adequately reimbursed and have a place to hide. I even had the forethought to bring some clean clothes. So, what do you say?
It seems I have little choice, but yours is a generous offer, so I thank you.
Brilliant! Oh, Jonathan, this is one for the book, and the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
No me termino de fiar de este tío, ¿eh? No me termino de fiar, no sé por qué. Bueno, ya sabemos cuándo está situado el juego. En mitad de la Primera Guerra Mundial, con la gripe española.
Worry no more, Nurse Crane, for I bring good news.
Oh, Doctor, what a night. We lost 2 more patients. Nurse Scow said she couldn't take it anymore and resigned.
Yes, well, I'll make a new rota in the morning. In the meantime, find a good bed for Mr. Hampton. Be sure to pay attention to his needs.
Of course, Doctor.
Oh, and Dorothy,
Yes, Doctor?
Dr. Reed here has just returned from the front. He served King and Country and will be joining us here at Pembroke. We're very lucky to have gained a surgeon of his talent, and one so experienced in blood transfusions.
That is good news indeed, Doctor.
Oh, yes. Here at Pembroke, it's not what we have, but what we haven't. It's only thanks to Nurse Crane and the staff that our ship doesn't sink. If you have any questions, just ask her.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Your assistance is required, Dr. Swansea, immediately.
Welcome aboard, Jonathan. We'll catch up after my rounds. I'm coming, Nurse Crane. I'm coming.
Me mola la gabardina, ¿eh? Y el traje. Joder, tenemos una pinta vampiro, tío. No puedo hablar con vosotros.
It's okay, Jonathan. I'll see you later.
It's locked, all right.
Vale, sí. No hay investigaciones. Me está molando mucho, de momento. No, hombre, no.
Rotten or pristine, each heart contains the sweat of life. Drink at this river, try it all.
Oh, come on, you bastard. I won't bite.
Pero yo igual sí.
You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse.
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
All right, sorry. I am in pain here. My guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
No me jodas, me voy a tener que pegar un bocado a este tío.
Bring this fading light into the shadows. Dance with him the dance of life and death.
Si es que no le quiero morder, tío. Nada, pues me toca. Ah, vale.
No more. Not tonight. Not like this. I will not take another life.
Exacto. Me mola eso, me ha molado.
It is wise for the huntsman to sometimes let his prey go, but no famished hunter can run for long.
No, voy a intentar no matar a civiles el mayor tiempo posible.
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I found a wounded man by the docks. He answers to the name of Clay Cox. He requires urgent medical attention.
Already making the rounds? That's the Pembroke spirit. I'll ask our porter, Milton, to bring him back immediately.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
I would like to ask a few questions first. And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
Acabo de volver de Inglaterra. ¿Será que acabo de volver a Inglaterra?
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Vale. Segunda planta, pasé a la izquierda.
Nurse Crane.
A ver, antes de ir por ahí. Vale, por eso te fuerzan a ir por ahí, para encontrarte al navajas. Vamos a investigar por aquí un poco, ¿no? Esto es enorme, colega, no acaba.
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Le da el triángulo, cabrón. Oye, ¿puedes, por favor? Ahora, joder. Ha costado, ¿eh? Hostias. También es un poco mierder cuando te metes detrás de un árbol o algo así. Mira, esto es lo de investigaciones. Vale, ahí me pone la... ¿Dónde tengo que ir? O sea, nos tenemos que enfrentar también a vampiros. Qué guapo, tío. Bueno, los combates con vampiros ya acabo de ver. Son jodidos de cojones. Me sacaban... Soy un vampiro. Creo que puedo avanzar por aquí. Cuarentena, enfermedad infecciosa. Puede entrar o salir de la zona de cuarentena sin presentar escrito emitido por las autoridades sanitarias locales, a excepción de los empleados autorizados. Podrá modificar, destruir o retirar este cartel. Violación de la presente regulación será sancionada. Vale. Vale, estos son... Yo creo que esto es una parte del hospital, ¿no?
I cannot enter.
Bueno, esto es una locura, chaval. ¿Dónde estoy ahora mismo? Me desorienta un mogollón. Míralo, sí. Bueno, vamos a dar la vuelta. Y volvemos al hospital. Porque esto no se puede abrir, ¿no? No. ¿Y aquí detrás hay algo? No. ¿Y por aquí? ¡Sangre, tú! Gripe, frecuentemente agravada por la neumonía. Quédense en casa para evitar contagiarse de la gripe española. Nivel 10, tú. No, me piro, tranquilo, tranquilo que me piro. Nivel 10, colega, nada, déjate, me revientan. Vamos al hospital, va. Esto ya veo que son zonas de más nivel. ¿Qué pasa? Cagando. Vale, ya está. Vale, vamos al hospital. ¿Puedo hablar con usted?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
Ah, este es el de la carta, tú. De la carta de la foto.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I'll bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital? That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Do you need any medical help, Milton?
I'm fine, Doc. Physically, at least. But I would give everything to be in a better place right now.
Un momento.
I've been in a... It's a complete
It's...
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I...
You left.
Go there yourself if you want.
Es que eso es como una misión, ¿no?
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you.
Ah.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
Eso es verdad.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Vamos a hablar con la gente del hospital, aunque joder,
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
Mira, esta es la que está liada con el conductor negro.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
Lo sé.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse?
Qué apropiado, ¿no?
Nobody was spared.
Qué apropiado hablar de esto en
You must get a hold of yourself.
en esta situación.
I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
Hay que ser más optimista.
I don't like your attitude, Nurse Hawkins. Pessimism can be as lethal as the epidemic.
Exacto.
At times like these.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
Bueno, sí, es verdad que estás jodidilla, ¿eh?
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes, Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Es verdad.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Espérate que me han dicho una cosa del conductor. A ver tú, figura.
Good evening.
Good evening, Doc.
A ver.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
Espérate, dilo otra vez.
Fuck them. No.
I know it's a difficult task.
I've seen babies left to die.
I'm sorry, I don't...
Yeah, exactly. We lack words.
Espera, espera.
Why do you have...
Fuck them.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Pero es que, a ver.
Why do you have...
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it...
Vale. No, es que según como lo ha dicho, como está hecha la traducción, pensaba que estaba culpando a los médicos.
Goodbye, Milton.
Y por eso era, en plan, que los médicos habían dejado morir a los bebés. O los habían vendido a pervertidos. Entonces por eso lo escucho tantas veces, porque... A ver, vamos a hablar con el figura este. Joder, es que aquí hay un mogollón de peña, tú. Es que cada persona tiene su círculo social y su movida. Bueno. Mira, a este le podemos pegar un bocado, tú, en algún momento. Buah, qué movida, tú. No
Good
creo
evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed, yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansey's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansey has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Joder.
There is no need for such animosity.
Vamos a ser cordiales.
Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital instead of a burden.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansey, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Manda una pista, pero no sé dónde encajarla.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
A ver, ¿puedo volver a contestar?
I don't know what...
I don't...
And what...
I said...
Be careful.
I only...
This is ridiculous.
You see?
No solo... Vale, hostia. Pues yo estoy con este tío, con el... Joder, ¿cómo te puedes poner a experimentar con heridos de guerra, tío? Aunque luego salves a mucha gente, no sé, no es ético.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd.
Manda una pista de este pavo.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Don't waste your time with me.
Va, pero ¿cuánta gente hay en este hospital, colega?
For you, Doctor?
Ah, esta es la de antes.
Thank you, nurse.
Vale, fuera. Hola, gafas.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansey informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
¿Este no es hermano del otro? Míralo. Ah, no.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
Vamos a ser cordiales.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
Uy, a ver qué experimentos está haciendo, ¿eh?
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these
Esto es un poco lameculos, de nosotros. Me está poniendo nervioso.
A test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Vale, sí, quiere que hagamos de recadero.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
What do you
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Pues yo pienso como el otro, ¿eh?
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him? Or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior. A man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Eso es verdad.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Repite, joder.
Tell me, our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial?
Because he is a...
Vale. Joder, es que... Como en la puta. Tengo que estar a 1000 cosas.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Y a ver, este... Lleva razón en lo de que hay que ser más personal, más cercano con el paciente. Pero a ver, yo estoy con este doctor. O sea, si es verdad que nosotros hemos estado experimentando con pacientes de guerra, heridos de guerra para... Aunque sea... desde la... No sé, no me parece para nada ético.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third
Gracias,
opinion
Harvey.
is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Tell me about...
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before...
I'm a carpenter.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable, and your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
Murió durante la guerra, no murió por su culpa, que durante la guerra.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
Hostias.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army. Building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
Hostias.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that my kids have. Poor little bleeders.
Joder, este juego es duro,
Your children, after losing their mother.
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Sweet girl. Reads me like a book. Never could keep anything from her.
¿Este es el gafas de antes?
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help?
Ah, no, este es otro.
No,
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
Pues como no quieres hablar, vamos a hablar.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
How?
So
A
painful.
ver.
I'll let you get...
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Vale, este va a haber que traerle un algo para poder hablar con él.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
Ah,
I'm
esta es
Dr. Jonathan
la
Reed.
madre.
How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Uf, uf.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
Eso está un poco feo, ¿eh? Eso
I
está muy
share
feo.
your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Bueno.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Vamos a cantarle los 40 a esa tía. Esta es Dorothy. Este es el que no le caemos bien. Y ahora sí me sale directamente. Buah, se escucha el latido de las. Se escucha el latido de las víctimas. Y la sangre fluyendo, tú. Buah, qué mal rollo, tú. Uy, con esta no hemos hablado. Ah, claro, si es que por aquí no podemos entrar. A ver tú, Pipa.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
No puedo.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Pues no puedo. Hola, buenas. ¿Tú eres? ¿No me deja hablar con ella? Ahora.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon.
¿Qué dices?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
Bueno.
Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Me lo creo.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Bueno.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Bueno.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
No, such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Pero ¿cuántos NPCs hay en este juego, el chaval, con su historia y su todo? Pues qué locura.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
What?
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Joder. Mira, este me lo puedo llevar.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
I'm fine. Just do something for this pain, will you? That's all I'm asking.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
How close are you to Miss Horcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of me blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
Joder, cómo está aquí todo el mundo.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Cómo está aquí el panorama, muchacho. Me faltan aquí
Good evening, Mr.
5 personas.
How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, Sora, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Horcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
¿Quién es Clay Cox, tío? Me suena un huevo.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Si tú supieras.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later. It's locked.
Qué locura, chaval. Mogollón de NPCs, cada uno con su historia. Joder, eso está muy guapo, tío. Pues espérate. Ah, no, esto simplemente... ¿Hay algo por aquí? Una botellita. Aquí es por donde hemos entrado antes, que esto da al callejón. A ver por aquí. Esto da al exterior. Bueno, vamos para arriba. Aquí arriba hay NPCs. No. Ya sé que no es por aquí el despacho, pero yo quiero subir a ver. Cerrado.
It's locked, all right.
Cerrado. Vale, este es el director. ¿Quién es este?
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate.
I understand you must be very angry about this unfair situation. I managed to arrange to have you buried in the same mass grave as your wife. I hope that might help.
It's locked. It's locked, all right. It's locked.
Ahí vale.
You don't mind if I search your pockets?
Hostias.
Do you, sir? You won't need any of these anyway. I'm not stealing from you, mister. I'm only redistributing your belongings to people who need them more than you. You see, no one has claimed your body, sir. So it would be such a shame to bury you with your valuables. I will not forget you, sir. And I thank you for your generous donation.
Qué cabrón, tío. Bueno, qué cabrón. O sea, al final es comprensible, ¿no? En una situación como esta. Tú, cabrón, ven aquí.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana. Pawnbroker and humble guardian of...
Prestamista.
What do you mean? You used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Este es el que yo... Este no es el que nos quitó la cartera y todo cuando estábamos muertos.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
How dare you steal from the dead, Rakesh? Is that what your pawnbrokers is really about?
These people are dead, sir. What they possessed could be useful for the living. And I'm sure they would agree if they could speak.
Es que lleva razón, yo es que pienso como él. Parece un buen tío. Aunque se ha visto un poco fanfarrón robando a los muertos.
You may be right, but you'll go to jail if you're caught.
If ever I have to go to jail, I'm sure I'll find a way to help people there, too.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
O sea, es que lleva razón al final. Por desgracia, si nadie ha reclamado esos cuerpos, no tienen herencia. Pues habrá que darle uso, ¿no? A esos objetos. Bueno, vamos a hacer la misión y ya dejamos el vídeo por aquí porque, Dios mío. Todavía me quedan 4 personajes, de esta zona. ¡Pua! Acabo mañana, tú. Aunque me mola un huevo, No son muchos NPCs, porque al final no son muchos NPCs, pero son bastantes. Y cada uno con su historia, su círculo social, sus secretos. Me mola mucho eso, tío. Vale, este es nuestro despacho, ¿no? ¿Esta puerta?
It's locked, all right.
¿Qué pone ahí? Doctor Tippets, Doctor Tippets. Hay un doctor que es el Tippets. Vale, este es nuestro despacho. Uy, ¿y esto? Un arma. Correcto, un arma. ¿Pero un arma cuerpo a cuerpo? ¿O no? Es un arma a una mano. Historia clínica de Thomas Healthwood. Seguimiento Dr. Tippett. Fecha de alta por determinar notas. La cara del paciente presenta quemaduras graves y está desfigurada a causa de una bomba durante la guerra. Aun cuando se le aplican los sedantes más fuertes, afirma que padece mucho dolor a causa de las heridas, como si las llamas siguieran ardiendo bajo la piel. El reconocimiento de los tejidos cicatrizados no muestra signos de inflamación, infección o tumefacción. Las cicatrices están limpias. ¿Podría tratarse de un caso de daño neurológico irreversible? El paciente se culpa a sí mismo de su desfiguración. ¿Podría tratarse de un caso de culpa del superviviente? ¿Dolor fantasma que se manifiesta como castigo por no morir junto a sus compañeros? Esta es la consulta del Dr. Tippett. No. Esto es... puede ser el cirujano, no sin más. El cirujano, quirófano.
It's locked, all right.
Bueno, vamos a nuestro despacho.
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin.
Artículo sobre los econs. Es una oportunidad poco común y casi un privilegio poder aproximarse a un vampiro. Observar sus más que fascinantes rasgos físicos y psicológicos con una mirada científica y racional. Estas son algunas de las más increíbles capacidades que he podido observar personalmente durante los últimos 10 años de entrevistas a vampiros o econ, como prefieren hacerse llamar. Velocidad sobrenatural. Un vampiro puede actuar y moverse como un mortal en todo momento, pero un ojo bien entrenado podrá apreciar unos sentidos mucho más desarrollados, una capacidad de reacción mucho más rápida que la de cualquier mortal. En determinadas situaciones, alarma, sorpresa, necesidad de escapar. He visto a un vampiro desplazarse tan rápido que casi podría parecer que se desvaneciera para reaparecer en otro lugar. El ojo humano no es capaz de seguir sus movimientos cuando actúa con tanta celeridad, pero no se trata de ningún tipo de teletransporte o desmaterialización. Tan solo es una velocidad sobrenatural. Para mí es como los atributos de los gatos, que les permiten correr, esquivar o saltar más lejos y más rápido que nosotros. También he observado que esa velocidad parece agotarlos, por lo que están sujetos a limitaciones físicas. Mesmerismo. Una de las más poderosas capacidades que poseen los vampiros es la de obligar a los mortales a obedecerlos. Yo denomino a este rasgo mesmerismo, pero poco tiene que ver con la habilidad de los mortales para alterar el estado mental de un sujeto. Un vampiro puede doblegar a un mortal a su voluntad, e incluso destruir su mente. Un vampiro al que entrevisté llegó a contarme que cuanto más se resiste el sujeto, más permanente resulta el daño, como si el vampiro pudiese literalmente fracturar la psique de su víctima. Ese mismo vampiro me explicó que lleva tiempo llegar a dominar una habilidad así, y que el resultado podía variar en gran medida de un sujeto a otro. Implantar un recuerdo falso, borrar uno doloroso, las posibilidades son infinitas y aterradoras. Debilidad por la sangre. Esta podría ser la más catastrófica de las capacidades de los vampiros, pues no es sino la causa de un gran número de desgracias tanto para nosotros como para ellos. Los vampiros anhelan la sangre. Deben emplear su voluntad para refrenarse a sí mismos de beber sin control cada gota de sangre que ven. Necesitan sangre para funcionar y para activar totalmente sus rasgos sobrenaturales. Un vampiro famélico puede estar muy débil, aunque no llegue a morir de hambre ni de sed. Ese impulso, esa necesidad de sangre, podría explicar la gran fascinación que sienten por ella los vampiros. Un vampiro me confesó en una ocasión que a veces lo cegaba la sangre, pues su olor y su atractivo podían llegar a ser demasiado fuertes. Cuando se concentran, los vampiros casi pueden llegar a ver la sangre de su alrededor, en los cálidos cuerpos, a través de los muros, en un arma supuestamente limpia. Ese mismo vampiro también me contó que pueden distinguir si la sangre de un mortal está sana o enferma, y que en determinados casos pueden sentir incluso enfermedades y ropas u objetos infectados en una habitación. Si eso es cierto, podría tener tantas aplicaciones médicas que casi merece la pena creer. Vale, esto es para...
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Esto es para dormir. Esto es un... Es que lo de reponer todo no sé qué significa. Porque imagino que no me habrán dado balas, ¿no? No, lógicamente, si no estaría muy roto. No sé lo que será eso. Vale, analizamos. Regenera 300 puntos de salud al instante y 150 puntos de salud en 15 segundos. Vale.
William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now.
No puedo hacer nada, ¿no? No. Pues a dormir, figura. Esta me mola, la quiero. Y con 200 me da para algo. 300, 300... Me molan las palabras que te ponen debajo de cada habilidad. Nah, no puedo desbloquear nada más. Pues vamos a dejar así. Guardamos partida.
If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. What about my thirst for blood?
Vale. Vamos a dejarlo por aquí, ¿no? Yo creo que ya está bien. Me he pegado una puta hora hablando con NPCs. Bueno, más, de hecho. Así que nada. Dejamos aquí el capítulo 2. Y nos veremos en el próximo, que será el tercero. Ojo, al mismo TS que siempre deslumbran. Hasta luego.